Hello, everyone, and welcome to our YouTube channel. My name is Kari. I'm the founder of Wild Winter Women, and a team of us are currently covering the 2026 Iditarod Trail Invitational, which is a human-powered race in Alaska. It's happening now, 2 days left. Today is March 23rd, and I have the honor of talking with Ginny Robbins, the 2026 ITI 350 bike champion in her rookie year. Welcome, Ginny, and congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor to get to talk with you and share stories.
Well, I'm going to try really hard not to just go down a rabbit hole with you.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. I love it. So at the beginning of this, or before this race started, if anybody was not aware, the ITI did not post a roster this year. So there was a lot of chatter about who was going to be there. And what I kept hearing about you was, what division is she going to do? Because you have the reputation of being a very talented trail runner as well. And I was also reading your survey. I'm just going to go to my notes here so I get this quote correct.
Oh boy, what did I say?
I'm not a cyclist. Did you forget that part when you were like out there running? So like you're obviously like a multi-sport baddie, but you live in the mountains and are no stranger to racing in the wintertime. So like, what was your journey to ITI? And then what was your decision to like get into the bike and do the bike division on your first year? Like, what was all that about? And like,
Life is just funny the way things unfold, isn't it? So I started doing winter ultras at the Drift because that's close by home for me, and the Fat Pursuit. But I started with the Drift, and I did the 28 miler there. Like was my first winter racing experience. And it was like this gnarly storm blizzard the whole time. And it just like blew my mind. Like, this is amazing. I can't believe people do this, and that there are people right now out doing 100 miles of this.
yeah.
I was just like enamored with that idea. And I thought it was crazy, but it just like got stuck in my mind and I couldn't like kick that interest. And so I signed up to do the 100 the next year, and I like didn't tell anyone I had signed up for it because it felt so pretentious to sign up for a 100-mile race. I'd never done anything more than that 28-mile Drift. But I was just so into the idea. I did it. It went great. And I was just like totally hooked from there.
Oh my God. Were you on bike that year or foot?
On foot. Yes. And then I did it again on foot the following year. And then I did it on skis the year after, which I do a lot of skiing. Like, we live in the Tetons, we backcountry ski, like we just spend a lot of time on skis around here. So that was really comfortable for me. And it was a great year to do it because it was like so stormy, and all the bikers were just pushing their bikes through these like snow drifts, and it was like a foot of fresh snow blowing around and just looked absolutely miserable. And I was there on my skis just having the time of my life going, oh my God, these idiots with their bikes.
Yeah.
And so after that year, everyone at the Drift was like, so are you going to do a bike next year? And I was like, that is so dumb. Why would you ever do that? And so I ended up like buying this fat bike off of my friend's kid for like $400. And I was like, I mean, if I think it's so stupid, I should probably try it out. So I can say that it's stupid with like authority, right?
Very logical thinking, like, this is ridiculous, and now I'm going to know why.
Yes, but mostly just because I wanted to say it was stupid and have some authority behind it. And I wouldn't have that if I hadn't like tried it out. So I got this like fat bike from a friend's kid and like took it to the mechanic friend, and he like, got it tuned up for me and like race ready. And I rode it some, and then did the Drift with it and had a blast. Like, I couldn't believe how much fun it was. And I'm like not a cyclist. I stand by that. I own bikes, but I'm like not comfortable on them. And especially mountain biking, I'm just like terrified to fall off my bike. Like I go gravel biking, but again, I don't like to go fast. I'm just not, it's not a comfortable mode of transport for me. But on snow, it seems to work. You're going slow. I'm not scared of falling off. I'm pretty used to like falling on skis, and so that doesn't bother me at all. So it takes all the things I'm not comfortable with about biking out of the equation. And you know, when the conditions are good, it can be really fun. So yeah, I've done the drift now twice on a fat bike, and I did the fat pursuit on my bike as well. I ended up upgrading my bike after the drift. I was like, okay, that was really fun. Maybe I am into this. So I
yeah,
got a nicer one that was a little more capable. And man, the ITI had been on my radar like since that first year I did the drift. That was well, the first year I did it on the 100 on foot. That was the year that you did the ITI on foot, like the COVID year.
oh
And
yeah.
so right after the drift, when I was just in that post race, like, oh my God, what just happened? That was crazy. I would like listen to your interview that you did after that race. And I was just like, oh my God, what is this other crazy race that I'm hearing about now? And like, you totally inspired me. I learned so much from your interview. And I was just like, oh, this is so cool. So it's been a thought since then. I didn't really know if I would ever do it. It's a major time commitment, and I also couldn't really imagine doing that many miles on foot. That's a long, long time. But then with the bike, it kind of fell into place. And, you know, I turned 40 just recently. And so I like did this for my 40th birthday present to myself.
Happy birthday.
Oh, thanks. So long answer, but it, you know, it was like such an unexpected journey to end up here.
Yeah, that's amazing. And for the record, I believe that's 5 finishes total at the drift, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a pretty cool race. I mean, I would not go there because I like the floor. Like I'm in Minnesota, I like the ground. The mountains and the high altitude thing, that's you, that's all you grow. But that is like
that's where I'm most comfortable and happiest is in that mountain environment. And so the whole racing side of it is a new addition for me.
Right. Do you find that when, like, even in your rookie year, right, that there's like you're comfortable in the cold, you've been exposed to cold and, you know, all the winter conditions, but then also your foot background, I imagine maybe you were pretty comfortable just pushing and walking when you need to push and walk.
Yes,
Is that
that is such a great fallback, and like really came into play with me for me on the Iditarod, because like there was one section where I just was so tired physically and mentally. I couldn't ride my bike anymore. I was just like wobbling and tipping over. I was just done. And I was like, you know, it's 16 miles. I'm going to push my bike. Like trying to ride is such an inefficient use of my energy, but I know that I can walk it about as fast as I'm riding. And that was just such an easy decision for me to make. And I think a lot of like my husband is a big time cyclist, right? Like he like rides mountain bikes and he does not like pushing his bike. And that would have been like a non-option for him, but I'm very happy and comfortable in that situation.
Like that is like a really, like you see that with foot people that move to the bike or can go back and forth, they're totally fine pushing their bikes. Or if you're going for 5 miles an hour on your bike, we're still like, woohoo, you know?
It's so fast. Look at how easy it is.
Because the alternative is like 2.5 miles an hour. So
yeah.
twice as fast going on bike.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. So it was from like your beginning of finding out about the ITI, that's 2021.
Yeah.
Maybe. So if you like, and then a couple of years to kind of like get to that, what was the, so like between the drift prep and ITI prep, are there similarities? Did you have like a kit kind of dialed in, or did you have a lot of changes that you made for ITI?
You know, I feel like I stuck with the things I know and I'm comfortable with.
Mhm.
And I have not really changed my getup all that much from year to year. In like every race, there is like something I tweak or like one new piece of gear I buy and upgrade to, but I have not made like substantial changes to how I go out. Like I'm always pretty light and minimalist compared to other people. But I think again that's because I'm like comfortable in the mountains and winter, and so I'm not packing my fears as much as a lot of people struggle with.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect point too. Like you have the ability, I think, to know your kit and yourself in real, like in real situations. Like there are people that come up to the Arrowhead and go to Alaska too that live in the South. Like
I can't imagine because you're not using that stuff every day. Like I use most of this gear every day, and I'm out in it almost every day.
like you have to go into that being like, I'm going to test now and be extra adaptable. We should make like little like coconut awards to give them, like since they're like in from more like you should get a special award if you're from like the lower 48.
I agree. Absolutely. Talk about an added level of difficulty and like just the things you're not anticipating is
Yeah.
just so much more. And, you know, so even just my subtle transition of going from like, you know, the Idaho, Wyoming area up to Alaska, there were so many people who messaged me like, make sure you have studs for your bike and, you know, things like that, that you might not think about like somewhere like this where we don't really deal with ice. But so I mean, I did make like some little changes to like my bike, but nothing like hugely substantial.
Yeah. And I'm totally gonna like jump ahead to a question.
Yeah.
Did you have any like mechanicals out there or any bike issues?
Yes. Most people did this year. So I worked really closely with my mechanic, who's a friend. Like he is a world-class mechanic. I'm in great hands. But again, we don't get like the super cold temps here. So I did like get some help from the Wild Winter Women group of like things I needed to think about with my bike, and which was amazing because I was able to avoid a lot of the cold weather stuff that other people were dealing with like the greases and stuff in their bikes. Um, but a lot of us had trouble in the super cold temps with our hydraulic brakes, and there were like all these people, not everyone in the group, some of the Uber vets knew better, but a bunch of people that I was kind of like leapfrogging around while it was super cold. Our rear brakes all like seized up, the hydraulics like compressed in the really cold sustained temps, and so you were basically just like dragging your rear tire wheel with you, like it wouldn't spin. And so even like trying to go downhill, I'd have to like pedal my bike to get that wheel to spin. So that was a long hard night. I was afraid to, I mean, eventually we kind of figured out we had to remove our brakes entirely to fix this problem. But I was afraid to try and do this at night when it was like 40 below or colder, who knows? Because I was afraid that I might like break my tool or just like break something on my bike in those kind of temps. So I waited until like the warmest part of the day to try and do this. And then, I mean, I don't know. This is mechanicking is like definitely my weakness going into this event, and definitely where I knew I would probably be outgunned and get into trouble. So I was trying to be as smart and like not do any, just don't do anything stupid related to that.
Yeah. And it's like there's so many like, oh, what's your mantra? And it's like, just don't screw up. Like don't screw up for 4 days straight or 5 days straight. You can't help it. Sounds easier said than done maybe. But yeah, what so I wanted to ask you like how the beginning of your race went and like when that part happened. So like before we started hearing all the chatter and drama about the conditions from Finger Lake to Roan, like what was the beginning part of that? I mean, it was still cold. Is that where you got your first mechanical? Was in that first section?
So for me, the race kind of broke down to like the start to Pentilla, Rainy Pass Lodge. That was kind of like section 1 for me. And I had really great weather in that section. It was very mild, like no real wind. The temps were like, I mean, I was only wearing a couple light layers. That was it. It was great. Everything worked great. You know, there were tons of lodges and places to get food. It was really, really straightforward. And then the next section, I guess, would be like Rainy Pass Lodge to Nikolai. And Rainy Pass was pretty straightforward for me. Like the weather started to kick up a little bit. But then like at Roan was where the temps started like dropping for me. And I left Roan about like a little after sunset. And that was the first night that it got really cold. And then from there on out was where it was just like cold, sustained.
That is so incredible. I mean, to have like, no, it was pretty mild getting to Rainy Pass. Like, I mean, there was so much drama, and I'm so happy that you missed it, because that was, I mean, you didn't have like the ground blizzards going over Rainy Pass.
No.
Wow. That's
so
awesome.
I did know that there was, you know, weather coming in the forecast. I didn't know when it was going to come or what exactly it was going to look like, aside from getting cold, but I didn't know like when everything was going to hit. And so I did like have that in the back of my mind in the first section, and like was just trying to be efficient and make good miles and like take advantage of that, because I did want to get over Rainy Pass before things got crazy. And again, I didn't know when that was going to be, but I was like, I better just like keep moving in a smart, efficient way to, you know, try and get that behind me. So, whew.
Yeah, completely. And like you living in the mountains and then doing our one mountain thing, right? Was that, how did that compare to the drift and other, and like where you train and ride? Is it like,
so Rainy Pass was like very comfortable for me, and it was maybe the most enjoyable part of the race, because I felt like I was in the mountains. It wasn't like there were mountains like way out there somewhere. Like I was actually in them, and yeah, that it wasn't like, it was intimidating in the fact that it was Rainy Pass. But then as I got out like there, like the conditions, like everything was like, oh yeah, this is fine. This is totally fine. And you know, it's funny looking back at the tracking. There were people like not far in front of me, or behind me, but I had no sense that there was anyone out there the whole time. I never saw a headlamp. I did pass someone on the descent, but again, I was so shocked when I saw him in front of me because it was windy enough that his tracks were completely gone. So I basically just pushed my bike braking trail like up and down. But yeah, it was lovely. I had such a lovely time with all the ptarmigan, and the views were great. And like, I was like, oh, I feel like I'm getting really close to the top or I'm going to break out. So I stopped and like put my extra layers on, and then it was like calm and warm up there. I was like, oh, I didn't need to like layer up for this.
yeah.
But yeah, that was great.
That you just like crest the mountain, and then it's just like a totally different environment, like just kind of nice, and the wind dies down. Were you with anybody? I mean, like you said that you weren't like, you didn't see anybody, but you didn't partner up with anybody when you were going up over the pass?
I did not partner up with anyone until the last day. There were a couple times I kind of would like leapfrog with some people. I mean, I rode with some people for a little bit the first day, but I was basically by myself the whole time until the last day. And I'm comfortable with that. Like, I kind of prefer it. It's easier to like regulate my own speed and temperature and everything. So that was fine.
Yeah, I hear you on that one for sure. That's something that I think people that maybe don't do winter races, or if they're like adamant dot watchers, that it looks like there's a row of people, and oh, look at, they're all going together. I mean, I say it too, and it's like you could be a half a mile from somebody and never know that they're there. You know, if the weather is the way that it can be, or even a mile away. I mean, it feels like you're totally the only one out there and alone, which is kind of actually. And then you left Roan at night?
Yes, just after sunset, we got booted for first in, first out. I would have liked to rest longer, but I knew it was going to get cold. And I know that bivvying in the cold is not great for me. I'm just losing energy instead of gaining it.
Mhm.
So I was like, all right, here we go. I wish I would have left Roan with someone to do the river crossing. But I didn't know that river crossing was going to be different than the other river travel we had done.
Yeah.
So that was definitely a challenge.
Yeah. What was that like? That is is it the Tatina River or
The
the
Kuskokwim,
yeah,
like
okay.
South Fork or something there.
What was that like leaving? Um,
Well, it was the first time that I'd really been on like sustained glare ice on my bike or ever, period. We just don't have that here. And I had full studs on my bike. So I was like pretty well set up for that. I could ride on it, but it was a really strong headwind. And with the snow blowing across the ice, it was really hard to navigate and stay on the tracks from the people who had gone in front of me. Just there wasn't much on the glare ice. So I pretty quickly got off route. And yeah, it was just completely different than the conditions I'm used to traveling in. Like the navigation was harder. And then the wind blowing you around, it was hard to manage your bike on that. And I didn't have studs in my boots. That would have been nice for that section, and so I couldn't stand or walk on the ice. I did wait in that section. I was turning to go back and wait to find someone to cross with, and then I saw a light coming, and so I just kind of hunkered down and waited. He didn't know where to go either, but we figured it out together.
it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice when you're in this together, even if you're lost. Yeah,
Yes.
that and that wasn't staked, right? Because the Iditarod was not going through there.
There
So
were people talked about there used to be a reflector on an island, but there was nothing.
yeah, they were saying that last year too. And the dog race wasn't going through, and it was just, and for like the viewers at home, this river is, I mean, even getting into Rhone is kind of tough too, because in some ways, like when you're on the Yentna River and it's snowy and you're boxed in by like the side of the river, right? Like there's nowhere to get lost on. But these rivers are winding, and they have like, they're like ribbons. So they kind of go out all over, and then everything kind of looks the same. So there's no trail to like bump you off, or no marker to like bump you off. Um, when I left last year, I was like, whoa, this is pretty. And also the glare ice thing, which is like sometimes it looks like it's been frozen for some relevant amount of time, and sometimes it just looks like it's brand new frozen. It's really like weird to walk on. But I was walking through, and there was a biker behind me, Stuart, who like called me back. I had just walked right past the exit. I mean, it would be nice to have, like, the trail's not marked, but it'd be nice to have like just one little like,
We were so happy when we saw that reflector over on the side. We were like, yes, we're gonna make it. But looking back at the dot watching, a lot of people didn't. And I started hearing some of their stories about navigating that section and climbing up vertical banks and stuff. And it's pretty wild.
yeah, it is wild. There was one person who, I won't say his name just because I forgot what it was, but he walked like, I mean, for a day.
It looked like 20 miles.
Yeah, like just on the river until there's this one little tiny trail that might be something, it might not be, that he would have to hit, that was nerve-wracking. But being on the bike and going 1.5 miles an hour, that's gotta, I mean, he was pushing his bike, so he didn't bypass too bad. Um, so then when it got cold, did you stay at Bear Creek Cabin?
I did not. So my
Did you
whole
see the whole
section,
shot from Roan to Nikolai?
yeah, well, and basically from like Rainy Pass Lodge to Nikolai, my stop at Roan was very brief. Like I literally just got in my sleeping bag and they were like, all right, time to go, everyone. know. I just laid down. So yeah, no, some other people termed it the mega push, which I think is appropriate. I really like that term.
Get out of here. I mean, that's good on them for having the strength to kick anyone out. If it were me, I'd be like, just get in the pile.
Yeah. But, that's what we sign up for. We know that's the expectation. And I was like, well, my best option is to just, get out there and follow this crew and keep moving. I did spend a little longer at the aid station, like trying to eat a little more before leaving. And that's why I left on my own. They all took off more or less, close together. And then I was a little bit behind them, just like eating oatmeal in the corner, but that next section I started, just after sunset, like just as it was dark. And then it got really cold that night. I started having my mechanical issues that night. And so my pace just slowed down because I was dragging my bike basically. And then I tried a bivvy that night, but it was too cold. Like I knew it just wasn't a great option for me. So I packed up, like, I think I spent 15 minutes in my bivvy and I was like, nope. I would rather be pushing my bike right now. So I just kept pushing. Like my pace was so slow, but it was a way I knew I could stay warm and I felt good. So I just kept moving. In that section, I mean, I had kind of just realized like, wow, my bike is not working for this. And not being a bike person, it took me a while to figure out what was going on with my bike. And it was really hard to troubleshoot in the dark when it was 40 below. So I was basically just like, well, this is my reality now. I'm pushing my bike, dragging it super slow. It's not working. And I was like, I'm probably going to have to DNF. Like I'll go to the Bear Creek cabin and figure out a way to like get rescued with my bike because I'm going to run out of food and headlamp battery if this is my pace all the way to Nikolai. And so I was like, all right, well, that'll be my plan. And that was fine. I was like, well, I mean, that's a bummer, but like, that's what needs to happen right now because I don't think I have the resources to keep this pace up all the way. Sun came up, but a couple hours later, got warm enough. I was able to figure out what was going on with my bike, take the brake off. And then I sat on my bike and it rolled. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to Nikolai. Let's go. And I mean, this might have happened around like noon or something. And I was like, I think I have about 40 miles to Nikolai. I was just shy of the cabin and I was just like going for it. So there I went. I mean, at this point I was like pretty much out of water, like whatever. I was just like sending, let's do this. So I got in around midnight that night.
In Nikolai?
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a long push from the pass to Nikolai. And it's like you said, it got cold. Like in the past, it's notoriously been the coldest part of the race. It's just why, the interior of Alaska, the Alaska range just kind of like blocks all the heat, maybe, I don't know, from the coast, but getting to, you were almost out of water. Did you get water from Sullivan Creek at all?
I didn't. I had enough. I just was like, I was paying attention to how I was feeling, and I didn't really want to stop and deal with it. Like I had some tablets I could have thrown in, but they were going to take a really long time. And I was like, you know what? I'm doing okay. I'm just gonna I'm pretty good at putting my head down and just making miles. So I just embraced that. And, it's not always the way I like to travel, but I know that I can do that when I need to.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is so awesome. It's like this thought maybe around ultra runners and ultra athletes that like, we're just like so good at suffering. It's like, no, we just know that it's part of it. Right. But like, we don't want to suffer the whole time. Just when it's time to, just put your head down. I love that. Getting into Nikolai, knowing that you've got 50 miles to the finish, like what was that like? Like you're kind of like almost to the end, but there's still like many miles to go. What was that? What were you feeling like then?
So this was a very interesting, this is a great question. So many things. So I mean, let's back up here. In the middle of the mega push, while I'm trying to get my brake off my bike, I'm standing there looking at my bike. I have a seized up rear wheel that won't spin. I, at this point, have 2 flat tires because, you know, valve issues in the cold weather. My pump isn't really working. And I was like, man, well, this is interesting. Now I have a lot to deal with. And I didn't have any like real emotion tied to that or anything. I wasn't like frustrated. I was just like, okay, this is a lot. I'm gonna deal lots of things. But it was definitely a low point, I would say. And just being like, well, shoot, I feel like my race is probably over. Like, now I just have to figure out how to get myself out of this situation. But then Jay Cable showed up with a tool that would work. My tool would like not, I had this weird aftermarket screw. He had a tool that actually fit in it and mine did not. So he bailed me out. We
Cool.
got my brake off, my bike rolled, I got air in my tires. Things actually turned around very quickly. I booked it to Nikolai, booked. I ended up just walking. That's where I walked my bike for the last 16 miles in the dark because I was too tired to ride anymore. And as I'm pushing my bike, I at sunset, I stopped and I changed out of my clothes that I'd been like frantically pedaling as fast as I could all day. And I was kind of awkwardly sweaty and things were like kind of starting to fall apart a little bit. And then the sun started going down and getting cold. And I was like, all right, I need to deal with this situation. I put on all my dry clothes and I was just like, I got this. I'm going to walk my bike. I'm so warm and cozy. It got dark pretty quickly. I'm the most tired I've ever been in my life, physically and mentally. I am hallucinating like none other, having these wild things happen in my mind. And so I do want to share that, like, I'm having this hallucination as I'm pushing my bike, that, and you know, I'm alone, things are getting rough, but I'm still feeling good about it. And I'm just like so comforted by the fact that in this tough time, I have company. I'm not alone. But I'm very much alone. Like there's no one when I look around. There's no headlamps coming behind me. But on the other side of my bike, there's this shadow there of like I have company, and I'm just like deeply like soothed by this, and I feel so confident about this because I'm not alone. And as I'm like, you know, thinking about this shadow here, I realize that it's me. I have like, I'm there keeping me company. So things are getting weird. And then as this is all happening and I'm pushing my bike and I'm falling asleep and waking up, like still pushing my bike, not knowing how long I've been asleep. And then the Northern Lights come out and it's like the most incredible Northern Lights, like the first real Alaska Northern Lights that I've ever seen. And it's just like this, it's
Yes.
and it's just like this deeply spiritual experience that's happening. And it was amazing. And it was like,
Wow.
everything I came to Alaska to experience, you know, trying really hard, experiencing like these hard things and overcoming them. And seeing the Northern Lights was high on my list of things I wanted to do on this trip. And I got into Nikolai and saw Faye. She walked out and met me on the river. And we're watching these Northern Lights like wave through the sky. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I might be done. This checks everything on my box. I might just fly out from here. I'm so satisfied and happy.
Like every box is checked except for the finished one. But you know, at that point, like Northern Lights,
It
number
didn't
one.
even matter. Yeah, everything I had wanted to achieve, I had done. And I was so saddle sore, I didn't know that I'd be able to sit on my bike anymore. I was like, this is great. I'm so happy.
This is great. I'm happy. Then Faye did her Faye thing and kind of like scooted you out at some point.
Not at all. Yeah, no, I opted to, I spent over 24 hours in Nikolai, like just letting my saddle sores heal, which they did so fast. I can't believe how fast they healed. Just like Vaseline in 24 hours, and I had no problem getting back on my bike. I couldn't believe it. Noted.
Bodies are cool. They're like, no, we want to
Amazing.
heal. We just needed a break from the.
Yeah, yeah. So that actually, doing a long layover in Nikolai was great for me. I got some sleep. I a couple of us decided to do this, and pretty soon there's like 4 or 5 of us who are like, yeah, we're not going anywhere today. Let's have some more oatmeal and tang and just like relax, get some good sleep tonight. We'll head out in the morning as a crew. Like, yeah, it was good to have some company of people who were in a similar boat of just like, wow, that was a lot. I need to like recover before we head back out. And we have plenty of time. What's the hurry? Let's like
Yeah.
enjoy each other's company and make sure we're ready to tackle this next leg.
Yeah. Because it could be
So,
amazing or it could be terrible. Like you kind of get a choice on that, right? Was that the
right.
first time that you were able to like really sleep since?
Um, I got good sleep for my first 2 nights.
Okay. Oh,
I would say around 4 or 5 hours each night. That was pretty solid, and I woke up feeling really refreshed.
okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
but yeah, I felt great after the long layover in Nikolai, and like even later that afternoon, like our group of us, we were kind of starting to look at each other like, is it time to go? And we're like, no, let's not leave at 2 p.m. That's silly. Like, let's just see this through, and we can get up early and leave in the morning.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
we bounced back so fast, and having other people who were similarly like prioritizing taking care of themselves and like enjoying that experience was great.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. And so you left early in the morning. Was it with one other person, right?
Well, there were about 4 or 5 of us, I want to say, who were leaving at about the same time. But we didn't necessarily leave together. We all just kind of trickled out. And
Mhm.
I left with one person, with Nacho.
Yeah.
And our plan was to like travel together, but he had to stop pretty quickly to deal with his headlamp.
Oh,
And it was very cold. Like some people have been saying it was like 70 below down
yeah.
on the river that morning. And so I was like, this is not a good place for me to stop. Like, are you good? He's like, yeah, I'm good. I can do this. Turns out he wasn't good. And I feel horrible that
Oh,
I like
no.
left. He like as soon as he went to change his batteries, the plastic in his headlamp just broke. He had to get out an extra light. His hand warmers weren't working. But I also knew that there were other people right behind us
Mhm.
coming along.
Yeah.
But again, it just wasn't a good place where I felt comfortable stopping and waiting.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
and
but
that's so smart. And there's a lot to unpack with that just brief, situation that people are always going to come, to if they do these races long enough, which is like when to help and when to move on. And, this the keeping yourself warm, like if he's not like sinking in the river, like you like that is how you protect other people, is to protect yourself and make sure that you're not getting into like a hypothermic state in 2 minutes. So did he ended up finishing, right?
and he caught up with me something like 12 miles before the
Okay.
end.
Mhm.
So we did finish, together. We rode that last bit together, but I was so worried about him when he didn't catch me, but I was like, I can't really stop still.
Yeah.
Like it was still very cold. I did end up getting like a little bit of frostbite on my toe that day. Like it was a lot to handle. But again, I probably wouldn't have left. I would have made it work, but we could see like a light behind us on the previous turn. So I was like, okay, there's more people back there. There's backup
Mhm.
plans.
And the
But yeah,
river.
that was the only time I really traveled with someone.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like when it's that cold, you have moments, not minutes,
Yes.
or hours, you have moments to like pick something and then get moving. It's that like, don't make a mistake. Everything's fine, but don't make a mistake
Yes,
or
that razor thin edge.
nothing happened. um, yeah, was there ever a moment when you were out there that you felt like real fear, Was there ever a moment where you were like, "Oh my God, and wait, I'm in the middle of nowhere right now."
You know, I would say no, not fear. I I went into this with my goal being to experience all the things. I don't know what the things are going to be, but I want to experience all the things. Whatever whatever this event brings to me.
Yeah.
And so as I, look back on it and I'm processing it, I'm realizing that in those moments where like you would think I was feeling, I should have been feeling fear, I was just kind of like, okay, so this is the thing that I'm getting now. How am I going to deal with this? And it never progressed to the point of actually feeling fear. Like the closest I got was on that Kuskokwim River crossing. And when I started to be like, it wasn't fear. I was like, I'm noticing a lot of red flags right now. This is not great. And I was like, I'm going to change what I'm doing. And so again, I didn't feel fear because I just changed what I was doing and kept it in my comfort zone.
It's so healthy. That is like, that is so the way to get through these situations. That's so healthy. That's so healthy.
Usually on races like this, I find myself doing a lot of negative self-talk, like, why is this so hard for you? That's my classic. Everyone else is doing great right now. You're the only one having trouble and struggling. And again, somehow on this race, I completely avoided that. And I'm not sure how, but just, yeah, I think something about like, well, this is what's happening now, and I'm just, doing the best I can in this moment. That's another thing I like to focus on. And yeah, like it was good.
Yeah, that's awesome. The negative self-talk thing is, I do that too. And like when you were talking about your bike, not knowing, what was going on, like if it was me, I would be like, well, I guess you just suck at biking now, Kari, and then like 7 hours later, I'd be like, oh, actually it's the rear wheel. We're good at biking. We like this stuff. But I mean, it's those things, that having that mentality, having that like negative self-talk thing that we do, and I try really hard not to, because it can actually it can really hurt you out there. Like if you're not actively trying to problem solve the actual working problem, which is like, I'm cold, or I need to keep moving, or need to eat, need to fix my tire, like that negative self-talk removes you from the decision maker, the problem solver.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's very, very distracting and not helpful. But I don't know how to, force myself out of that once I'm in it. And I always find that negative self-talk happens when I'm by myself. And so on this race, when I was having issues with my bike, I was just every now and then, I was still traveling alone, but every now and then I might pass someone who is also having the same issues with their bike.
Yeah.
And I think that is a huge part of what kept me out of it in that specific situation, because whenever I know other people are having the same issues, it does help me be gentler on myself. So I'm like, oh, okay, it's not like me sucking at biking. I mean, biking specifically. Like, oh, okay, like people who everyone else out there really knows what they're doing, and they're having this issue too. So like, maybe I'm not like quite so horrible at this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know how to turn that off once it's already started. It's really hard.
It is hard. That was something last year that I knew that I had to stop doing, and I did. It took me 1 year to fix it, and it has not come back. But my secret was every time I would do like negative self-talk. Now, for the record, this was like anything, not anything important or not everything important. It was like if I dropped a fork in the kitchen, I'd be like, you idiot. How could you be so stupid? I mean, it was like comically negative.
Okay.
But every time I said something bad about myself to myself, I would give myself 3 compliments.
Good job.
And it just got to the point probably where it was like tedious enough where I'm like, okay, it's not worth it. Well, like that's like, like, oh, okay, you can say that one thing, but now you need to now you need to say 3 good things about yourself.
Yeah. That's a great, great tool.
But it took a year, like I said, it took a year, and then it came out in only one time in Alaska last year. And that was like right when you leave Finger Lake and you start climbing, like now you're getting to the point where you're almost to the mountains and you've been on a river for 2 days. And now all of a sudden you're like going, and I was like, oh, you're so bad at hills, you know, like, no, you're not. Like,
Uh,
I'm like, we're not doing this. We got 200, we got 800 miles to go. But that
good
is,
job.
but I think that that's like a thing that, you know, people, like we always say, like who you are at home is who you are on the trail. So we got to be good to ourselves on the trail or at home.
See, I think
Um,
I'm taking that more the other way and taking what I've learned on the trail and now applying it to life here.
so I was going to ask you, did you come home to your mechanic and like, here's all these things? I mean, is he like now like the pro in your area of all this information that you shared with
I
him?
haven't connected with him yet, but I have it on my list. I have to go like meet up with him and debrief, but we just haven't connected yet.
Yeah, there's like the mechanic, the bike mechanic that can do like do your bike for these races. There's not that many of them. So
Yeah.
he's got a friend in you. Um, um, I did want to ask you this before I forget. Was there like, I mean, I know we've talked a lot about I don't like through my list of questions I had for you, which is great. But was there anything else or anything that happened that you were like not expecting, good or bad? Like, and it doesn't have to be an event or a thing, but
Yeah.
like, did you walk away from that going, wow, I did not see that coming?
So the thing about the race that yeah, I was not expecting was the scale of things. And I'm talking about like the landscape scale. And so like this whole uh phenomenon of riding your bike on the river and you're riding in a straight line. But we know the river is going like this, but I'm riding in a straight line and I'm never turning. And I
Right.
might look at my map and be like, oh, well, there's a lodge. Like up here, I'm going to do this really sharp hairpin turn, and the lodge will be on my right. And I'm just riding in this straight line, and it felt I when I look back on my memories, this is all at night. Maybe I traveled at night a lot, I don't know, but like I would just be aware that like maybe the dark of the trees on the bank would like get a little closer to my left hand side, and then maybe they'd show up on my right hand side, and I was like, wow, I'm still just going in a straight line, though I haven't gone around any turns. And then I would arrive at the lodge hours later going around the one, sharp turn. So that the whole it was just a very different scale than I'm used to being in the mountains. I'm not used to going in what feels like a straight line
Yeah.
for hours on end. And and like the long straightaway on the way to Nikolai, like 50 miles or whatever of like a straight shot. I was like, oh, that's going to be interesting. Um, and then being out there weren't really landmarks. The view didn't really change. There were like no animal tracks even to look at. Like there's just not much. It's the term I would use is like it's pretty monotonous.
Yeah.
And that was very, very different for me. And I was not mentally prepared for that. And I see why people do audiobooks. Like I have
Yeah.
never listened to music. I don't do books. I wish I had it on
Mhm.
this. Yeah. And I was not expecting that.
Yeah. Yeah. The last time I ever went anywhere without an audiobook was my time that I went to Nikolai for the first time. And I was like, can't do that again. Like we saw the inside of our brains. It is, I mean, and it's monotonous, but also like you feel like you're not going anywhere. Like you feel like you're on a treadmill. The scenery just kind of stays the same.
Yes.
But Alaska
It's
is so big. I'm happy that you got to experience that. It's so hard to explain the scale of everything that is this
yeah.
big Alaska thing.
Well, and again, it wasn't a bad thing for me because I was like, wow, this is different. I am experiencing something very different here. But I do wish I'd had an audiobook. But again, I saw people fidgeting with like their cords and stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm not fidgeting. It's 40 below. Like, thank God I don't have to worry about one more thing. But I definitely was wishing I had that, which
Yeah.
I've never wanted before. So mountain people, take note.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I think there's plenty of things to look at during the daytime, but man, at night, especially if it's tricky trail and your headlight,
Just in the light.
just riding into this thing for 15 hours.
I mean, but there were really fun sections, like that
Yeah.
section right after Finger Lake. I thought was great. We're like going up through the hills, through the forest, single track. Like
Yeah.
that was really fun, and I love that part.
Yeah. And the mountains are there. You're like, I am going. I mean, it is
Yeah.
so, was it like sunny and bright when you were going through, or just like open enough that you could see?
So it got dark shortly after I left Finger Lake. So yeah, it basically got dark. Like I did the Happy River steps in the daylight, and then I climbed up the hill back into the forest, and it got dark.
Okay. Yeah.
So I had some views, but mostly
Yeah.
not.
That's there were a lot of people that, well, not a lot, but there were a few people that had kind of taken the Happy River a little bit, like a little detour thing. Was it easy for you to find?
That was my first place where I had to be like, whoa, let me check this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just pulled my phone out and it was straightforward. But I was like, yeah, that would have been a really easy one to miss.
Yeah. Plus also like, you've just gone down this massive thing and it was a big deal. So like you can't possibly believe that I would go up right away, Like how could this how did you get I don't know how people get their bikes down the Happy River steps. How'd you get your bike down? Did you just like
I'm
shove it
trying
down?
to remember. No, it wasn't bad. The conditions were great. And again, I'm not a cyclist and I'm horrible at riding my bike down steep hills, but like I feel like I rode down almost all of them.
Okay.
I have a dropper post. And so I was able to put my seat down super low and I can just put both feet on the ground and just kind of ski my way down. Um,
Nice.
so on the drift, there are a lot of really steep downhills like that.
Okay.
So that is something I've done before. But yeah, they weren't icy. It was soft. I was worried about it based on things I had heard, and it was totally fine.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's
Cool.
not all the time.
Not all the time, but you know what? We talk only about like, oh, this crazy year when it was, well, so for the record, people, it can be really nice.
But the dropper post helped a lot.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I had never even heard of that before as an option, but that's
Yes.
awesome. How do you feel about yourself now as a cyclist? I mean, you've done this thing, you're world famous now, as we've discussed previously. You're an elite, world famous cyclist.
Indeed.
You're totally
Um,
elite.
I
So
would
like,
still not call
yeah.
myself a cyclist. I get really self-conscious when I have to get on my bike around other cyclists who are watching me get on my bike. Um,
So just like
so,
very awkward. You're like, oh
so
yeah.
awkward, wobble around. um,
I love
yeah,
it.
I don't consider myself a cyclist. I'm just someone who likes to go adventure in the mountains. And whether that's on a bike or foot or skis or whatever, um, yeah, I'm just more of an adventurer in mountains than a cyclist. I mean, cyclists are a pretty hardcore elite group, and I have
Oh yeah.
no fantasy that I'm really part of that. Just turn me loose with
Yeah.
whatever in winter and mountains, and I'll probably make it work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel like very serious and very, very serious. But there's
Very.
something about like a fat bike that just makes you feel kind of like we're little kids again, when our bikes
Yes.
are bigger than us and we just like,
Hmm.
like that's why I like fat bikes.
Well,
Um,
and my bike is so stable that I can kind of just like stop and it like stays upright. So that's nice.
that's nice. I love it. I love it. I know we've just finished. I know you just finished your amazing adventure. Are you gonna maybe go back, do you think? Or what's your plan for the future?
That is a hard question. That's a big one. Um, it's good you're asking me that now. I mean, right after would have been a no, of course, but we
Right.
know to wait before asking this. And at this point, I would love the opportunity to go back and do it again. Um, but I mean, we'll see. Honestly, like the timing is it's a great time to be home in Teton Valley.
Yeah.
February is prime ski season for us. And I just feel so fortunate that this year we had a horrible winter.
Yeah.
And so it was a great time to be away. I wasn't really missing out on the best of the winter.
Yeah.
So if I knew I could, align it with another horrible winter, I would definitely sign up. But, it's a long time to be away from somewhere really great where I'm missing out on, skiing with my husband and friends and all of those things. So yeah, it's also just a big time commitment, a big financial commitment. It's a lot to take on. But I do wonder, like, well, what are other adventures I could look at too that might kind of similarly scratch that itch? Yeah, but it was great, and I would love the opportunity to do it again someday.
Yeah. That's awesome to hear. Yeah, it is such a huge commitment, and it's like the huge commitment of the year of training, as well as, just getting out there. And if you're on the bike and the conditions are good, then, you could be looking at 3 days. Or if it's any kind of winter like Alaska likes to have, it could be, could be 10 days that you're out there.
Mhm.
So would
Well,
you, this is all like hypothetical and everything, so I will not hold you to
yeah.
anything. But like, if you were to go back, would you still want to do the bike again?
I think so, due to the monotony factor. Like, I'm really impressed that people are game to walk like at that slower pace, and
Mhm.
being on the bike was great on the
Mhm.
rivers. Like, I was making great time, and I was like, wow, this is really monotonous out here. Good thing I'm cruising along. So yeah, I could definitely see that being good again. But I mean, yeah, who knows? I like doing all the things.
Yeah. And when you say skiing, are you a downhill skier primarily, or do you like cross country, or both? I imagine you're both.
I mean, I'm primarily like a backcountry skier, yeah, but
Yeah.
downhill. But I'm very comfortable on, classic skis or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just like a really natural, comfortable motion for me, and like, yeah, fits well.
Yeah. And we're almost at trail running season, kind of
We
here.
are here. I've been trail running for the past week. It's crazy. It should not be happening, but
Yeah. Yeah.
enjoying it, I guess.
I mean, silver lining, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any summer races and stuff coming?
Yeah, I'm doing the Wyoming Range 100 miler in August. This will be my 4th year doing that one.
Isn't
Um,
it the one where you have to, like, part of the gear requirement is like bear spray?
oh yeah. Yeah, I saw a grizzly and cubs one year. There's always moose, grumpy moose.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's great because you're like running along and you're like on the ridge and there's mountains to look at, and then you drop down and there's a waterfall, and then you go around here and there's like this meadow to see. So that's not the monotony. It's like completely the opposite.
I love that. We should get out there some year for that. My partner and I should get out there some year. And
Come
then
visit.
I'd love to go out there and like fangirl on you at one of your races too.
I love that. Yeah.
Watching the adventure happen, like with your bear spray and the views and everything. But no, that was yeah, that'll be cool. Well, I'll be watching the results on that one. That's in the fall, right? Or summer?
It's in August.
It's in August. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And
Yeah.
we have got a couple other adventures planned. I have a friend running Western States, so I'm going to go pace him and see that whole scene.
Whew. Talking about the absolute opposite of ITI.
Yes.
Like,
Yes. It's not really something I want to run, but I am so excited to just go like see it.
oh my gosh, I can't imagine. And like, it's too crowded for me. There's no way I could go in there without like getting caught up in all the hype. Like, it has to be just so awesome.
Yeah.
You'll have a blast. That's cool.
Yeah. So
and you're
yeah, just
like you feel your body feels good. You're all recovered and everything.
I would say I'm still getting there. Just like deep-seated fatigue,
Yeah.
Still like my sleep is good, but not where it normally is. And yeah, my body still feels tired, but I have energy and I'm excited to go do things. So I'd say I'm like bouncing back now.
That's perfect sign. Like, you're getting excited about things. It's like that's checking that box off. It was an awesome pleasure chatting with you finally in real life. Thank you so much for talking with me. I will, yeah, we'll be in touch watching your adventures, and please keep posting to your adventures in the Wild Winter Women page, because everybody always loves to see your name in there. So.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for the great questions. You got me thinking about some different things. So this was fun.
That's awesome. I love it. All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks.